happy Thursday. Do you know, I keep thinking it's Friday all day. Because
That's it.
obviously, oh God, I woke up with Friday in my head. I actually greeted one of my friends by saying, "Morning, happy Friday," and he was like, "Lois, it's happy Thursday," and I was like, "Oh, so it is." Honest to God. So tonight, guys, you can see we have got the lovely Sharon Day. Now, everybody will remember her for Frighteners because I've had her in Frighteners. Well, tonight I brought her on the crime show. There's two in the chat. Can someone say hello, please, so I know that you can hear us? Because I know that there's a problem with StreamYard just now.
Is there?
That I was reading. It was giving me a lot of jap. Um, because when I came on, it was telling me it wasn't going to stream to um Facebook or YouTube. So I'm kind of hoping that people. Well, we have two in the chat. So I'm kind of hoping that people can hear us.
Oh, I gotta
Um,
show you my T-shirt, Lois. I found it now that we're done with the subject.
Nirvana, Kurt
Yeah,
Cobain.
I
That's it.
found it today.
Oh, wait, you like woman.
I'm
So
sharing it.
Sharon, how have you been, my lovely?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. It's springtime here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's beautiful out. Birds are singing, and I'm happy.
That sounds really good. So tonight, really, it's just talking about serial killers because I know that you said you were into the subject and you've fascinated with that type of thing. So I thought, why not have you bring you on? Um, so it's a really interesting topic. I find it interesting personally. I love looking at old cases on. Hello, Sarah Louise. Finally, there's someone. Hello,
I was
Sarah
sharing it
Louise.
also. I shared it out to a couple of groups.
No problem. Thanks, honey. Sarah Louise, I owe you an apology. I can't remember if I did or didn't say hi to you the other night. If I did say hi to you the other night, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. My brain is wired. Um, so I've always found that this subject always. I'm not saying more interested in the paranormal, but I find the subject interesting because I was practically kind of brought up with it in a sense. Because my gran used to watch a lot of um true crime things. So I was always fascinated with crime and serial killers.
It's
And there's
funny
a
because
lot
I
of
was grown up watching Western stuff, so you're like the other part of what she does, and I'm like the Western kid.
yeah.
All Western
Um.
all the time.
So what got you into things like this, Sharon?
Oh, well, I grew up in a home that was a Civil War hospital for both the North and the South at different times, and
Mm,
grew up in a very haunted home. And the relics, I dug up all the relics from the war, and
mm,
developed a skill for psychometry, being able to hold an object and understand a lot about the person who had dealt with that object. And I didn't realize that was a skill. I always assumed everyone could get these images and memories, names, and visuals from touching things. And I was probably in my 20s before I realized my friends weren't getting information from objects. And then I just kind of shut down and went, ooh, spooky. Can't explain it. Why me? Why do I have to have this curse? I
mhm,
just wanted
mhm,
to be regular. So I kind of learned to just push that away. I mean, when you handle objects every day, you touch a doorknob, you get things at the grocery store, you're touching things, and there's a lot of info there. Subconsciously, all my life, I would go into a store, grab something, and then push it away and pick another one instead. And I didn't realize it on a subconscious level, good energy, bad energy. And
yeah.
I was probably in my 30s when I was watching the news one night and they were talking about a serial killer and they flashed a sketch of what he looked like. And I just shut the TV off immediately. It scared me because I related to his knowledge, like his experience. I got into his head basically, and was able to get so much information, and I couldn't seem to close that down. Like over days and weeks, I would just be writing down these things that I was getting about him, and it included locations and inside of his home, and his upbringing and how he felt and what this killing did for him, and I thought, oh wow.
Oh, oh well, that must have been a scary thing for you.
So the first time I did, yeah, the first time I just put it aside, kept it in a notebook, and when they actually caught the killer, I pulled the notebook out, and I was stunned. I didn't know what to do with this. Why me? Why can I relate to this? And it was only a sketch of
It's
killed
awesome.
a few people. So then I got kind of scared of the news for a while, and I quit watching the news. And then finally, got more comfortable with the skill, and I started to have a new perspective on it. I've always had premonition dreams about tsunamis, plane crashes, helicopters going down, bombs going off.
Oh, God.
Archive it.
Uh,
And so I don't feel threatened, but I realize this is the same thing. I just have to witness it for some reason. I'm supposed to look into this and know it, but I can't do anything with it. And that was the frustrating part. I can't stop a plane from going down because I can't likely tell you where and when that plane's going down.
uh-huh.
It's the same way with the killers, too. I mean, only one time did I ever actually find his address. And in my mind, I followed him on the bus to his home.
Oh my God. You were very brave. You were a very brave woman, doing that. But I suppose when
Yeah.
you have feelings and like obviously the psyche side of things like that,
Hey,
you do have that
Yeah.
curiosity that you have got to check, you have got to, because there's a few times where,
Yeah.
and now everybody gets quite antsy, right? I've been in a few good
I
serial
think
killer groups.
yeah, the psychics that are mostly empathic, that just sort of feel the feelings of others, get the
Uh-huh.
energy from a crowd, that kind of people, they have a lot of trouble with this. I am, since I grew up in that setting where people were in agony and dying, and there was anger and hate, I always had a very good shield for that. I understood that all
Yeah,
I am is watching a movie, and I don't get any more emotional than I would watching a movie.
it is. It's a hard thing being empathic, and it's a hard thing to switch off. So I could just only imagine how hard that must have been.
it is.
Um, I that's why I've
Sometimes I say
never.
it's a curse at times. For myself, anyways.
Yeah.
Sometimes can be.
And it depends too. You see a lot of psychics that go try to solve a murder case, and they will go into the victim's point of view. And that can be helpful, I suppose, in order to look at the killer. But being in the killer's point of view, it's not the same set of emotions, because literally when you're reading them, you're seeing it the way they see it. And they feel very justified and satisfied by what they're doing. And their minds are so sort of OCD. They're very clinical about things, and they're actually easier to read than like a grieving mother. She would be very hard to read.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, some of the serial killers. I mean, when you look at some of the serial killers and how this is the conversation I've had many a times, is when serial killers live a double life. It's just amazing how they can go and switch from one life to switching to the
Yeah.
next, and how they can actually blend in with, the community around. The one that always stands out to me is Arthur Shawcross. And I don't know why,
Mm.
but he's been the main one, like one of the ones that sticks in my mind, because he his interview and the way that he conducted himself, and it was like you had no emotion.
Yeah.
And it was that almost like, you know, that he felt that he could be cocky, he was in, we at one point with undercover cops, and he said it himself. He was sitting next to an undercover cop who thought he was an undercover cop, and he was starting pointing out where all the undercover cops were. And you just think, wow, was it that convincing that like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cop is that
When you've
there?
been into a variety of people's heads, yeah. The thing about being a good psychic and also knowing, when you're permitted to look into someone's head, I think when somebody does a crime, I think you're quite justified to see what they're plotting. Any way you can interrupt that, because
Mhm.
that's outside of humanity.
Uh,
Sociopathic qualities is I'm a single girl and I'm constantly being pursued by married men. And publicly, they're extremely happy. They're, on their Facebook or Instagram bragging about their amazing wife, and they're good citizens and they go to church and they do, all kinds of volunteer work. And yet they have this seedy part of them that they can literally compartmentalize the two things. And as long as they don't look at one when they're in the other one, like when they're at home, if they don't look at what they're doing outside of their home, they're okay. When they're outside of the home, they just don't even look that they have a home. It's and these killers at a whole different extent can compartmentalize so many ways, and they can blend right in, and that's
yep.
sociopathic. And even these married men that want to cheat, it's sociopathic. It's the only way they
Oh,
can do it is to compartmental it.
oh God, yeah. Love you, Sarah
Yeah.
Louise. Hey, Adam. Hey, Robert. Hey, Nettie. Um, it's so true because I watch many things on TikTok. It's like disturbing pictures with backstories, and the one in particular that stands out to me is BLK. I said it wrong the last time and said BLT, and everybody went in stitches because I had said that instead of K. Um, and you just see him with his family, and it's his daughter, and then to think what he's done, it's just that's what blows my mind about serial killers is the fact of how
Mhm.
how they can get away with it. Look at Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper's never ever been caught to this day. The
Yeah.
Zodiac Killer, you know, it's amazing if you go through the history, the amount of serial killers that have never ever been caught. And now we're in 21st century with good technology, and it's amazing, and they still can't break cases.
Yeah.
It's just it's mind blowing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that a lot of our detectives now obviously have a whole slew of new tools they can utilize,
Yeah.
including CCTV. We have cameras everywhere.
Uh
We
huh.
have accountability. Cell phones can tell us a lot about people, and
Towers. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, and DNA.
Hmm.
It gets a little harder to get away with it now, but it hasn't lessened that sort of mindset. It's an unusual kind of mind, and it feels very justified in what they're doing. It's sort of like no one ever seemed to care about them and they didn't fit in, so they're just going to hate everybody before they even have a chance to meet them. I'm just going to push you away,
Uh,
and this creates an excitement for them to know that they are the last thing someone sees when they're dying.
that's why I feel so sorry for empath psychic mediums and that deal with these cases because you're looking at it through that person's eyes. You're looking at the last moments, and I can't
Mhm.
begin to imagine
Yeah.
how
I
that
think the thing
must
that's important
feel.
for either an empath or a psychic is to remember that you aren't actually present and you aren't actually doing this. And this isn't actually happening
Yeah.
to you. You're
Or it's
just there
not
to
their own
witness it
feeling that
as if
somebody
somebody
else.
put you in a room and played a movie and you're forced to watch it.
Hmm.
about it's a
It's
fate,
hor-
it's a destiny. And I don't know why we have to have glimpses of it. I don't know how that helps us to understand.
Is it me, Sharon? Glitchy.
Uh, so I have less expectations of humanity because I know that I'm not dealing with people that have the same set of standards or experience that I
Uh-huh.
have, and they may not be working with all their cylinders. And so I just know that that we are the chaos in the world. The world is naturally stasis, but you put humans in it, and now it's chaos.
Oh God, yeah. I always say that, it's
It's a
not the
rat
death
race.
that's the
It's like a
problem.
rat race.
It's the humans, I would say, is the problem, and it's just going to get worse. It's getting worse by generation to generation. Um, I thought you had froze there because I know StreamYard's been a bit pain in the backside there now. Um, so Sharon, what serial killer fascinates you?
Oh, you're cutting in and out. I'm only hearing some of your words.
Yeah, I do apologise about this tonight, folks. StreamYard has been extremely glitchy. Um, who's your favourite serial killer? Who are you fascinated by?
She's frozen. There she is.
I,
She's not frozen anymore. She was
sorry,
frozen.
I do apologise. StreamYard is really bad tonight. Um,
It is.
so I do apologise. Who who are you fascinated with, like serial killer wise? Who would you say you're fascinated with?
I think probably John Wayne Gacy, the clown
Hmm.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He had like the classic good citizen, creepy, really scary, dark side. And he was abused, and that kind of thing does show up. There you have a choice during abuse whether to basically split into different personalities, and that's kind of where he was coming from. You know, he had the moments where it overtook him, and he became this killer. But then the other times he was trying to make up for his badness. And I think
Hmm.
even since he was a child, he felt I must be bad because I attracted abuse. And so
Hmm.
he's trying to make up for that by being an overly attentive citizen. But then there's this other side he can't get rid of because it's tantalizing. It's something was struck in him early enough that he's attracted to that naughty feeling, that feeling of something dark. And the more you try not to look at something, you end up target fixating and going
Yeah.
right at it. It's like, you know, when a police car pulls someone over on the road, you know you got to go around it, but if you keep staring at it, you'll turn into it. And that's kind of what would happen with him.
Mm. I mean, we've covered John Wayne Gacy, and when I looked at his case, I mean, I knew some facts about him, and I think what memorised me was he's again the same scenario as other killers who lead double lives, because at one time he met the first lady and was shaking her hand, you know. So, he was doing charity stuff. He was a really good guy, you know. And I think a lot of America, well, where he was from, got the big shock of their life to realise this man was a serial killer. And a lot of people even said after it they couldn't believe that this was John Wayne Gacy. He was this good guy. He done things for charity. They just
Mhm.
couldn't believe. Hi Lauren.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Harold Chipman. Harold Chipman was another one who was. Um, the problem with Harold Chipman, yes, he was very careless. And the biggest mistake that he made, thanks Adam, the biggest mistake that he made was typing up the letter, because he made a lot of mistakes. And I think with Harold Chipman as well, greed got too much. He just wanted more and more and more and more. And he was just a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible man. Um, but I would
Yeah.
have to say even Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was another guy who,
Yeah.
when you think about what the judge
Yeah.
said to him,
Sometimes
he could,
it's that silent nerd that you wouldn't
yeah,
expect. Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of built up stuff going on there. You know, and you find with a lot of these killers too is what happens is it's sort of like what happens if say a guy goes into pornography and he gets hooked on it and it's good, it's okay, but then he wants a little darker, he wants a little more, he needs a little more stimulation. And
yeah,
pretty soon he's looking at some pretty nasty stuff. And these killers do the same thing to the point where they're willing to eat flesh or do anything to take it to
mhm,
a totally forbidden level.
yeah. Oh, I totally agree. I mean, there's a gentleman who wrote a series of books called Jason Neal, and I've actually contacted him myself and spoke to him, and he's really dead nice guy. And I read one of his books because it showed like many killers that were no well known, and there was one that stood out to me, and it was a gentleman who watched Dexter, and he got hooked on Dexter, and it was I've never watched Dexter, so I can't tell you what happens in Dexter. Um, and he got hooked on it, and the things that he was doing, he bought this house. He had kidded on he was a woman on the dating sites. He kidded on he was a woman. He was luring men in, and he would torture them just because he knew that he can, because they knew that obviously he could give them false promises, he could flirt with them, and he said it was a power. And what I really liked about this guy was it how honest about how it made him feel. It was more or less it was a thrill. It was the thrill of he could lure men back, he could torture them, and then he could go home knowing what he'd done, and nobody would be none the wiser.
Mhm.
And do you know you never really get that level of honesty, like
Yeah.
how it makes him feel, and that in depth. And that's what I loved about Jason Neal's books, because there was people in there that I didn't even know about that I was quite, oh, that's one I need to look at, or oh, that's a case that I never knew about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all have built in safeguards to have a natural tendency to want to protect life and help others. And there's obviously something very broken in the network of the brain of a person that can do that and not feel like, oh, crud, I just hurt someone. Can I help you? You know, that doesn't even compute at all. And I know they are looking into the brains of serial killers and finding some interesting commonalities. And my guess is it's something that forms at a very young age under a lot of abuse. They found that, I think, in the Soviet Union with a lot of the babies that were up for adoption, and they were never held and never touched, and they became quite sociopathic. They had no connection to comfort or connection to other human beings.
What's your thoughts on uh, the nature nurture debate?
Yeah, yeah. I think it has a lot more to do with nurture than just the chemistry of that they were born with. You know, there's a lot of people that have brain disorders that don't go out and kill. You know, you don't ask, do autistic people kill more often? No. You know,
Hmm.
they have a spectrum of issues they were born with, but that doesn't make them a killer. So there's a certain part of the brain, and I think a certain pattern that's developed very young that makes the child almost have to, like people with multiple personalities, they split at a rather young age under abuse. And this is pretty much a very similar kind of situation where they're just detached from everything and they can't feel unless something's extreme.
Hmm. Hey Tom, hey Tom. No, I totally agree with you. I do find the human brain quite interesting, and I think, as I said before about the human brain, we really don't know there's so much about the human brain, and there's so many things that they've not looked at. And I do realise that they took Ted Bundy's brain to study to see, because of how clever that man was. It was just like some of the things that I've read about Ted Bundy. I've watched interviews with him, and he just conducts himself in such a manner that he's actually really, believe it or not, I found him quite charming, and I could have been bought by him and sold by him
Somebody looked
because
like a weirdo.
he was just so charming.
Creepy
I
vibes.
know that sounds weird, Rosie Posey.
Huh?
I know that sounds dead weird, but when you do read, when you
Yeah, I'm
do
only getting
watch,
like every few words.
I do apologise. This is really not going well
Weird.
tonight because
See,
it's
I'm hearing
StreamYard.
every word that she's saying, so I don't know why between y'all two there's like some kind of connection there.
Because StreamYard has been an extreme, because before
Yeah.
I came on the night, it told me that there was problems with it
Yeah. Did
through
it?
Facebook and YouTube, but they said that they would fix it,
Mhm.
and they clearly not fixed it. We will get this
Okay.
interview, ladies, don't you worry. We will be on top of this. Um, I do apologise though,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that's what
That's
Nettie said.
okay.
That also
At
answers
StreamYard we have
Robert's
had
question.
trouble tonight.
Because Robert, I don't know if he was
Mm,
joking. He said,
yeah.
"Hi, Annette, are you real? Seen you 5 minutes ago." Like, I don't know if he thought she was like a fake account.
No,
She's on here all the
because
time. Huh?
Annette had a show before me tonight. That's what she's saying. StreamYards,
Oh,
they've
okay.
had
I thought
trouble.
maybe she
They've
got
had
hacked or
trouble.
something.
No,
Account got hacked.
no, no. Um, but like I have seen interviews. I have tendencies to sit and watch interviews that serial killers have had. So like Ted Bundy, Ed Kempter. I've watched John Wayne Gacy, Arthur Shawcross, Richard Romez. I must admit he scares the shit out of me. Is Richard Romez, just the way he looks, and it's just that way. Oh my god. But I think it's always good to watch the interviews because you can see like how they conduct. I'm interested in the psychological point of view when it comes to serial killing.
I think she's frozen.
Did you pick up any of that, Sharon?
A couple of words. It goes
Oh,
out more
sorry.
than you. I can only now and then hear a word.
I'm
um,
I'm genuinely so sorry.
no, it's okay. I
Um,
mean, I've had technical issues before, so I'm used to this kind of stuff.
oh
I
God.
will. I'll expand a little bit more too. As a psychic, I do psychic tracking, so I
Yeah.
can follow a path and stop and look and see it through someone's eyes, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, where they went. And
Hmm.
actually, as an investigator, I've used this tracking Bigfoot as well. So it
Oh
works
wow.
any old way. Yes.
Um, yeah. So I can imagine. I can actually imagine. So how do you find it? This is what I'm fascinated with. How do you find it when you are doing this, like the psychic point of view, you're doing cases?
Um, I'll give an example of how I found a dog. A friend had a dog, went on a trip, took the dog with her, was walking the dog in a park, and the dog got excited and chased another dog, and she couldn't find her pet. But she was away from home and she didn't know the area. And all I had to ask was, "What park were you in?" And I got on Google Earth, and I just saw where the dog was going. what direction in the park. And I found
Yeah.
there's actually a road there. The dog instinctively followed the road. And it had followed it all the way down a hill and then down another, like turned the corner, went down yet another hill, and it found a house that had a truck. And I asked the woman, I said, "Do you have a white truck?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "The dog's sitting near a white truck at a house." And she was like, "Well, can you figure out where the house is?" And I literally backed up, used Google Earth, found out the address, gave it to her. She went down there, and the owner said, "Yeah, a dog showed up and was hanging around my truck when I tried to go to work, and we've been feeding it and taking care of it." So I was able to do this partly just reading it and then partly using Google Earth. So it seems like the more I go along with the skill, I can use sketches or a name or something really vague. And I find a way to quantumly entangle with it and take off. So I'm learning the skills as I go along as well, because no one taught me. No one said, "Hey, Sharon, you were born with these skills. Here's how you use them." And even if I met another psychometrist, they would do it differently than I do. So it's self-learned.
Yeah.
Sharon, this is Nick. Nick, this is Sharon.
Hey, Sarah, Sharon, how you doing?
Doing good.
Sarah.
Um,
I mistype.
he's been missing time again. 35 minutes is
No,
no.
I'm so
Nicky boy,
sorry.
have you been sleeping?
You know what? I actually was, because normally I don't. Well, no, normally I don't. I wouldn't necessarily do that. It's because I work today, and normally I don't work on Thursdays. But I had to switch my day off, so that's why I was really exhausted by the time I got back from work.
That's alright, I forgive you. StreamYard's having a lot of problems tonight.
What's going
StreamYard
on with
is
it?
causing. It refused to stream a Facebook and it refused to stream a YouTube. But it's sorted now. But just everybody's getting thingweed. It's just been a total pain in the ass.
Oh,
But we're
geez.
going with it, and me and Sharon's on the ball, and Rosie, we're all good. We're just getting by. So the thing is, do you think that a lot of people who deal with cases like this, psychics, whoever, get a lot of hard time for people who are maybe non-believers?
Oh yeah, it's a difficult thing. I mean, if you look at a minister's, a holy man, you go to him, but you also pay him, so you can talk to God, right? So you get a little skeptical about church. So you back off of church because, yeah, you're spiritual, but you're not religious, and I think it's like that with psychics. There's a lot of psychics that make money at it. And part of why I've never approached a police station and said, "Hey, I can help you find people," is I don't have any credits. I don't get paid to be a psychic. I don't push that I'm a psychic. I don't ask to read things. And part of that is literally, if I do a reading on you, it's very hard to shut the door. Years later, I could open that back up and I could still read you. And that's not something I can stop.
That's
So
the
now I'm
problem
walking
I
around with a
have.
lot of people's experiences in my head.
Mhm.
And it's as if I lived that. So I've lived a lot of lives. And I really don't need that, because just my own is confusing enough. So I
Totally
So-
100%.
I look at it more in a science. I'm trying to always observing it. What am I doing here? Where's this information coming from?
Yep.
And really, I always come back to quantum entanglement. I think we're all connected. We know that spiritually. We know that in the afterlife. We just are able to tap it for some reason. We can tap the connection while we're mortal. We're not distracted by being mortal for some reason. And I was born dead. That might have helped too. And foot still over the other side.
I believe that like near-death experience, which would be kind of like what you just said, helps open you up more also.
Mhm.
Or death experience. You said you were born dead. Yeah.
I was going to say that I do agree with that, because there's a lot of. I mean, I've watched like programs like Unsolved Mysteries and things like that, and there's been experiences where they'll give people stories. And I think the one that always stands out to me is a gentleman who got struck with lightning, and he nearly died, and he came back, and suddenly he was psychic, he had all these powers, he knew a lot about people, and I just think that's mental that that happens. Can you just give me 2 minutes, guys, to come back? My cat's crying. Right,
Yeah.
2 seconds.
I have a question to ask you, Sharon. Like, did your parents or your family ever embrace, or did you talk to them, or were you comfortable revealing the things that you experienced? And did they, like, how did they react about it? I think she's frozen. No, she's not now.
Yeah.
Sharon?
Sharon, can you hear us?
Now those been going in and out. I can only hear like part of a word now and then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it must be the connection then.
Well, they said there's technical difficulties today with StreamYard, specifically. Like today, there's a statement on there. Lois said that it said they were having difficulties,
Okay.
and Annette did too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because every now and then I get the spinning wheel every now and then too.
I would say if it keeps recurring, that like just to reschedule the interview and have her come back when they're not having difficulties. That's what I would do.
I don't know what is wrong with StreamYard tonight. All I can do is apologise, Sharon, and apologise to everybody in chat. StreamYard is becoming the biggest pain in my backside ever, because it's not the first show that I've dealt with recently that it's just, it either spins, buffers, nobody can hear MD, or it's crashing.
Yeah, I think they've grown so fast. I think they can't handle the kind of traffic they're getting. They're going to have to upgrade.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Lauren says she can hear it all. Bless her. Thank God. Hey David, how you doing?
Hey, Lauren?
Oh, adopted son. Oh, Nettie.
I saw that.
That came like a bolt out of the blue, shocking.
Shocking. Love.
You're something else, say
Now you
Louise.
see her, now you don't. Now you see her again. Peekaboo.
So, what about you, Nick? Come on, you've just duly come on. Don't you sit there and yawn,
Sorry.
Boyle.
No, I mean, when I saw what time it was, I guess I forgot to put the alarm. I'm like, oh, damn, I need to get on the show. So that's when I jumped up and I ran all the way up here. So I'm still kind of waking up.
That's all right, son. I'll just talk for you. So,
I'm trying to clear my mind up so I can come up with something.
poor Nick.
Trying to wake up.
Right,
I was
Sharon,
asking
just
a
give a
question.
punch.
I had a question for her, but she didn't hear it. So, like, I want to try asking it
Right,
again.
well, try again, Rosie.
Yeah, she didn't hear like at all. As you were growing up, did you have a good, like, was it well received by your family or your parents? Your experiences, like, how did they react if you told them what was going on?
Well, when I was growing up, I was born and raised in the haunted house, so a lot of the attention. My mom was a historian, so a lot of the attention was on digging up relics and getting the house listed on the historical society. So it was always about the history. But the wood floors were still stained with blood and stuff. I would dig up relics. I would rush into my mom. I'd show her, here's a belt buckle, and his name was, Fitzpatrick, and he was from New York, and he was murder. And I would give her like great details, and my mom would just look at it and go, "Oh, could you clean this and get it in the cabinet?" And I would look at her like, "Aren't you feeling that too, Mom? Aren't you getting this information?" They didn't really know, although we did have a psychic come in the house one time to do a seance, and there was a big television series on the ghosts, and The psychic, I snuck out of my bedroom and I came downstairs to see why the living room was all blocked off with blankets and curtains. And the psychic saw me and she came aside and she looked at me and she said, "This one has it. This one has the skill." And my mom just looked like, "No, no, I don't want that. We don't need that. We'll just
Yeah.
pretend the skill is, for singing or something. So no
For
one,
painting. She froze again.
Yeah, she's
I-
frozen again.
She's froze again.
so
It's
yeah.
Steve Muir's driving me nuts.
Oh, now she's back. There we go.
Yeah. So, and as well, my parents are very good raising us in the house because they said soldiers died here away from their families, and there's 5 children in this house.
Oh,
Jeez.
I'm just putting a thing into Things Network, a message into Things Network about StreamYard.
So were you a child at the time of the seance, but how old were you?
I think she's frozen again. Yeah.
You know what? I think Lois, we should reschedule her and have her to come back on so that we have an actual interview with her.
Yeah, because it keeps causing issues.
Yeah. What I will do is I'll get another 5-10 minutes. If this continues, then what I'll do is just finish the show and then I'll have you back on, Sharon, because we've had that many glitches with StreamYard tonight, and I can only sincerely apologise.
Oh no, yeah, don't worry. This happens very often, depending on which service is being used. Yeah. A lot of variables.
Sometimes, though, I think sometimes if you're talking about spirits and you're gifted, that it happens anyways.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, I had one host. I was on one host show 3 times. Every single time we got interrupted by issues, and finally he said, "I've never had one show go down only when you're on." And I'm like, great, because I also can't wear watches. I set off alarms. I turn streetlights on and off.
Yeah.
One of those. Yep.
That must be weird when you can be able to do that. You have that energy that just.
I worked in an emergency room, and the head doctor, he said, "Here, try on," because I was admiring his watch, and I don't wear one because I can't. And he said, "Here, try it on." And I said, "No, I can't. It'll break." And he goes, "No, I trust you." And I said, "No, literally, it'll stop working if I put it on my body." And he didn't believe me. And it was a very expensive watch. Finally, I just succumbed and put it on, and we sat there, and within 4 minutes, it stopped. And he just, yeah.
It's in the chat just now that there is issues on StreamYard for Facebook tonight. It's a pain in the backside, honestly, StreamYard. But at least your parents were very, very open-minded. That's what I've got to say. That it is good when you have parents who are open-minded, because I guess it gives you a chance to explore your basically your
they never told me how the world works. They let me observe it myself. When we moved in the house, I was a baby, but my siblings were much older, and they knew it was haunted, and they had an idea of what a ghost was, so they were scared. To me, the things that when an object would move or I would see something, I thought that was part of the way the world is, that it's like that everywhere. And when I got a little older and I spent the night at friends' houses and their houses were dead, I would feel very uncomfortable. Like, where's your energy? Where's the life?
Right.
So I to me, there was no boundaries at all. It was all part of the world. And so it made it much easier for me. That's why I pursue everything. I pursue Bigfoot, ancient giants, aliens, UFOs, and I've had a lifelong contactee experience with aliens. And that's also shaped a lot of my attitude.
Wow.
So here's a question I have, and it's not uncommon and this might be the reason why, maybe your parents are open-minded. I'm not saying maybe this is the case, but just out of curiosity, like, Did any other family members of yours ever have that kind of ability that maybe you somehow inherited from? Or
Yeah. My dad's mom was from Sweden. I think she was a Sami, and she had a lot of psychic skills, but they kind of destroyed her emotionally. She couldn't handle it. But then my dad's sister, she ended up inheriting it, and she used it in unusual ways, like she'd go gambling and she'd win. Every time they wanted a
Oh,
vacation,
wow.
she'd go gambling.
wow,
She just
that's
knew where to go and when to do it. And she was
that's quite an interesting way to use that
been in
gift.
sync with people's
Hi, Bri.
experiences on Earth, mortal experiences. They intrigue me. And as a writer,
Oh, she's frozen again.
Uh, Lauren says, I was going to say, because the energy coming off is Sharon. Hey,
knows it,
Holly.
he will not use it.
Yeah.
Very logical, very logical. And my granddaughter, she's showing the skills too, but they haven't discouraged it. So she and I can kind of communicate back and forth ourselves, which is amazing.
Yeah, that really
It's good
is.
to hear from them.
Yeah.
Lauren says that she can see energy coming off you, Sharon.
See, I thought that too,
Can I
but
see
I think
what?
it's her headphones. Her headphones look like
I
she has
was
an
going to
aura
say I
around
can
her.
see energy
Like a
coming off
crown
Sharon.
chakra aura. Her headphones look like a crown aura.
Uh,
But I thought it
uh,
was too. I was like, whoa. Oh, wait, that's headphones.
yeah. Lauren's working on
Yeah,
a painting of great niece.
They're working on a painting of her baby niece. That's awesome, Lauren. I'd love to see it when you're done.
Yeah.
Great.
A great niece, yeah. So definitely we will need to get you back on, Sharon. In touch, Harry Wood. No, no more problems with bloody StreamYard. Um, but definitely, I mean, going forward now, I'm so glad that more people are open-minded. I always say don't dis discourage somebody with their if they have gifts, don't discourage them. It's better to embrace it, especially at a young age. Can anybody hear that noise? It's like,
Yeah, it sounded like a thumping on a microphone, and then I hear like a plane or a train or something.
Oh, do you hear like a running? Yeah,
uh-huh,
it's a leaf blower outside in my backyard.
Okay.
So
It's
the
like a
windows are
alright, no,
no, the windows are closed. Don't get me wrong, but it's still pretty loud. So sorry
uh,
about that, guys.
no, you're alright. I was beginning to think the StreamYard was making noises.
Oh my lord.
Oh Lord, it's been
We're gonna
some
have
night.
everything go on that's humanly possible and spiritually possible.
we have a
during this
ghost in the
activity.
machine.
That
Yeah.
listen, I wouldn't be surprised with StreamYard. It would drive you to drink. But it's definitely it's good to see that young people who have gifts are getting more encouraged these days to follow. I think it's a really, really good thing. And if you taught them well,
Excuse me. Sorry.
one's a wish. I know what your wish is, Nicky boy. But definitely, um, I think I'm going to get another minute and then I'm going to shut the live down tonight because we are having problems left, right, and centre. I have notified,
For almost
obviously.
an hour straight
Yeah.
I,
of
I, I,
issues.
it has been absolute carnage tonight. Again, I can only apologise for StreamYard being a pain in the backside. Hopefully, touch Terry Wood, I better not have the same problems tomorrow night, or I think I'll cry.
Well, I'm worried
So
about the other shows too after us, like Joe's show, and then also the other show I do on Thursday nights, Supernatural Talk. It's going to make me wonder how the connection's going to be like with everyone else.
yeah, but Sharon, it's always a pleasure to have you. You're honestly, definitely, I would love you back without a shadow of doubt. First writers or for this show,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Our sound just kept repeating over and
Oh my
over
God,
what we
that's
said.
so weird.
Rubbish tonight.
No,
I
what she just said, I heard it in my head before she said it.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
That's
That's
weird.
actually quite crazy.
yeah.
Um,
So I feel really bad. I mean, we're definitely sorry about this, Sharon.
Oh no trouble really. It's
uh,
fun. I feel like I should pull out Google Translator and find out what we were actually saying.
honestly, I, I think
I think we need to wear
3 times.
tinfoil hats, is what I need.
Uh,
I need a tinfoil
Noreen says,
hat.
"Hey Noreen, hi everyone. Nearly missed you. We'll have to watch back." Noreen, honest to God, tonight, what's quite strange is everybody can hear it okay on their side.
I can,
It's
yeah, I can hear
our side
everything.
Yeah.
that's the problem. It's
Been
just
having a
I
lot of
don't know
technical
what's happening.
difficulties.
It's just, but at least I still done the show, so we've marched on, folks. So it's just been a case of like I had to laugh because I was asking one question to Sharon and Sharon was answering a different one. It's like, it was, but we still marched through, guys. So that's a bonus. It really is a bonus. Um,
That
it
makes a
makes
great
a great
live.
live. I'm very happy, Laurie.
Interesting, just
Um,
interesting.
oh God, yeah, definitely. So, what's your plans now, Sharon, for the rest of the day?
Film meetings. I'm in the film industry, a screenwriter, and we have a lot of projects going on. So there's a lot of meetings going on.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Hopefully they
studied.
have no technical issues. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
It
and I
may
can.
be me.
I can relate to you, in fact, because I've actually worked in the film industry myself, so I know a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff just as well as you do.
Yeah, and I think everybody's trying to beat the strikes that are going to come in the summertime, so they're trying to
Yep.
hurry and get things done. So yeah,
Yeah, probably.
I,
Makes
I
sense.
can absolutely imagine. What have I missed? You've missed StreamYard being a pain in the backside, Noreen. Um,
Also, I was
so,
late for the show because I was sleeping.
aye, Nick was sleeping, kidding on that he didn't need to do the show tonight. Cheeky bugger. That's- Um, so tomorrow night, guys, we have the one and only Richard Russell from Dutch Curry. We've got him tomorrow night. So that will be really good. Um, over the weekend, I can't even remember what Wayne said to me. Just watch out for Spook and Ori. On Monday, you have got the two Dark Mirror
oh,
boys.
yeah. Everyone pantomime what you want to ask. Yeah, just act it out.
That's it. Let's play a good old game of charade. Do, do you know that would make a great show? We should do that one night for a giggle and invite Sharon along, play charade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Aye,
Yeah.
I think next time we're going to get boards, writing boards, and just put cards up. What we're doing.
Dictionary
Definitely.
live.
Aye, you're bloody right, Laurie. Um, on Monday you've got the aliens. On Monday you've got the aliens. The Dark Mirror show. Please don't tell the boys I called them aliens. But yeah, guys, definitely touch Fairywood, and Nickelodeon has got something to say because
Yeah,
I can see that wee
it's
finger.
it's actually for the show tonight. I think you guys are going to find this interesting. I mean, for Supernatural talk tonight, and this is the first time ever she's been a big fan of our network. She's watched a lot of our shows. First time ever, Sam Thomas from South Carolina is going to be coming on and doing a live investigation on it. So this is the first time that she's coming on any of our shows and also showing her face. So it'll be
Oh
awesome to have
wow.
her on. She's nervous.
Definitely.
She is nervous, but she's looking forward to it.
Check that out, guys. I was up during the night, the other night, watching Nick with his bunny ears on. He was
Jeez, yeah.
but I've got a tendency now that I just can't sleep during the night. I don't know what's bothering me. Well, I do know what's bothering me, but and I turned on the TV and there was Nick with bunny ears, and because I don't know how to work YouTube comments, I don't know how to do it through the telly or whatever. I just reached for my phone and started typing to Nick about his ears. It was really, really good. Mark and Wayne are out of this world. You're bloody right, they're out of this world and not in a good way. Don't tell them that I said that, but yeah, guys, but Sharon, again, thank you very much, and I do sincerely apologise. I will get you on again, definitely, because I really think there's a lot for us to talk about without a shadow of a doubt. Rosie Posey, what about you? You got anything coming up live-wise?
No, but I've actually been thinking about in the last few days redoing an intro and reformatting and maybe redoing the podcast that I used to do with Jason and starting to do it again.
Oh, Spectral
Like
Sailor?
I've been talking about it. Yeah, I've been talking
Yeah.
about it for a couple of days now. Like, and people have been telling me, you should do this and you should do that. And you should do this because it's going to sound weird. It's not the same thing, but I've been doing a lot of karaoke and like stand-up stuff. Like,
That's awesome.
you know, like at like places, public places. And I don't know, it just kind of made me feel like I wanted to get back into doing that. I like it.
I just got a private message. I just saw your message, Sharon. So she said she's gonna.
Okay.
She's just
All
gonna.
right.
Yeah,
Love
well,
you,
thanks again,
Sharon. Bye.
We'll see you
Have a
again
good
soon.
night. Nice to meet you.
Bye. Definitely. Bye. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye. Right, guys. I think we're going to call it night because StreamYard has just been a total pain in the arse and bringing the show to its knees tonight.
Right.
But definitely check out Supernatural Talk. Thank you very much, Sharon. Guys, have a good weekend and stay safe and remember be kind to each other. And I shall see you tomorrow night. Nickelodeon that fell asleep. Have you got in
Actually, this time I was gonna message the Jeremy and everyone else for the issues we've been having tonight. So I'm not falling asleep.
You better not be falling asleep. That boy,
No,
I
I'm
need to
not.
get rinsing him.